Audio Jungle.
Hey guys, welcome back to my podcast. I got some exciting stuff to do today. We are going to be reacting to the new trailer for Ghost Files. Ooh. If you don't know what Ghost Files is, I'll get into that in a minute. But this is going to be new for me. I've never like really reacted to anything on the podcast with you guys, so hopefully you guys enjoy it. And then, of course, we're going to continue the discussion into Stranger Things season 4, episode 9. So technically, this is part 2 because I did start talking about episode 9 last week. So if you missed that, you can go back to my Facebook page and check out, any missed podcast episodes. You can also go back to my Spotify or my YouTube, wherever you watch or listen to my podcast. You can go back and listen to the previous episodes just to kind of catch up. So yeah, this is kind of part 2 of episode 9 because episode 9 is super long. It's like over 2 hours. So kind of had to split it up so that I'm able to talk about all of the important things pretty much that happened in the episode. But before we get into that, like I said, I'm going to react to the Ghost Files trailer. Now, I will be honest, I have seen the trailer already. I just couldn't wait to see it. I'm really excited about it. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping that this works out because again, this is my first time trying to share my screen, and so hopefully you guys can see what I'm seeing and you can hear it. And I appreciate the feedback. Let me know if this works on your guys' end or if you like me doing this, because if you do, I will definitely incorporate it more. So basically, just to set it up a little bit before we watch it, Ghost Files is technically it's not a TV show. It's a series and it's on YouTube, so it is free. You can access it. You can look it up yourself if you want to. Um, and it's starring Ryan Bergara and Shay Madej, and so they are content creators. They used to work for BuzzFeed. That's where most people know them from. That's how I got into their content. They used to have a really popular show on the BuzzFeed channel called BuzzFeed Unsolved, and they pretty much did like ghost hunting. It was all like around like paranormal stuff. They kind of had two different versions of the series. It was BuzzFeed Unsolved Paranormal, and then they had a true crime version of it where they would kind of go into like sort of like history lessons, I guess, things that happened in the past, and they would kind of go over this. It was like a case study, but they made it really fun because it's like super, like humorous, and they're both like really good friends, and so they're kind of like having this banter and going back and forth. So it's really fun. It's not like all serious. So I highly recommend if nobody has checked out their content before to get into it. They do have a their own company now. They're not a part of BuzzFeed anymore. They have their own company called Watcher. And so again, if you look it up on YouTube, you'll find them. And so they have all this different content going on. And Ghost Files is kind of like the most anticipated show. I think that everybody's been waiting for people that have been watching them for years. So it is coming out September 23rd, which is this Friday, and I'm really excited to see the first episode. They also have another series called Are You Scared, which is pretty good too. It's like them. It's kind of like telling ghost stories, but it's not always about ghosts. It's kind of like them reading um, like little short horror stories, I guess you could say, from people. And they usually have some type of depiction to go with it. Like there's usually some type of drawing to go with the story, and it's actually pretty creepy. I'm not gonna lie. So it's really good. I highly recommend checking out their content. And like I said, it's really funny. It's not like all serious and stuff. But of course, if you're not into that kind of thing, then you might not like it. I don't know. I'm a weirdo. I like to watch like paranormal ghost hunting TV shows. I just always like that kind of stuff. I don't know why. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to set that up for you, and I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that this works, you guys. And like I said, if it does, and you kind of like me reacting to things or being able to kind of watch clips with me, then I'll try to incorporate that more. The only thing is, I just don't want to have like things get taken down. Like obviously, if you're a content creator, if you're someone who uses YouTube a lot, you know that there's always been a big problem with like copyright issues. Sometimes people react to things, or if there's like music in the background, then their video gets taken down, or there's, it ends up being a problem. So I'm hoping that's not the case with this. Um, but yeah, we're gonna try it out. I really wanted to kind of talk about this a little bit before we get into Stranger Things, and then also too with like fall pretty much being here. I think the official first day of fall is tomorrow. There's gonna be a lot of new TV shows on cable that are going to be premiering. If you guys know, like I grew up watching a lot of TV, so I know that fall is usually something that you know for sure that you're going to be watching. Please let me know in the comments. Let me know, and I'll check out some of the shows, and maybe that's something I could start to react to on here. Um, I think most of the shows are like, they're like on the big networks like Fox and ABC and Freeform and CBS and things like that. Um, and obviously there will be new shows on like Netflix and all the other big like streaming platforms, but I kind of want to have a show that I can just watch on TV. Like, I don't know, I kind of miss having that, just at least having just like one good show that I can watch on cable. And I know that there's like a new episode to look forward to every week, kind of like with Barry, I kind of miss doing that. I mean, I like watching stuff on streaming platforms, but, it's really easy to just like binge watch everything. So I like being able to take one episode at a time and to be able to like process it and then hopefully like talk about it with you guys and just make it more, fun and interactive and everything. Um, so yeah, let's see about watching Ghost Files trailer. Like I said, I did technically already see it, but it's fine. We can just rewatch it together. It doesn't matter. I'll watch it multiple times actually. Okay, so hopefully you guys are seeing this. I'm gonna go ahead and play it, and we're gonna react to it together. And you guys, again, could let me know in the comments, like if you're a fan of theirs, or if you've never heard of it before, but you feel like you might be interested in watching it. Please let me know, because I could talk about each episode if you want me to. Like this could be the next thing I talk about. Because as you know, Stranger Things, this is the last episode for season 4. So once I'm done talking about Stranger Things, I want to move on to like, maybe some other TV shows or some other content. So don't be afraid to give me some ideas, leave me comments, or hit me up on social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and let me know like what you guys are watching or what you want me to discuss and talk about. So here we go. We're gonna watch Ghost Files.
The vibes in this room are off the charts bad. Are you excited to get back out there?
I am.
Welcome to the Boo Bunker.
There was like thumps from upstairs, things crackling behind walls.
Are you asking me to kick your ass? I think I'm gonna kick a ghost's ass tonight. I fucking hate this place.
Not you, Timmy. I don't hate you. I just hate your home.
Sounds like you hate Timmy.
If I see a little boy standing here,
Woo! Thank God.
did you hear that?
Did that fart? No, that came from down there.
Are you fucking kidding me? That was not
No.
a fart?
I'm surprised you didn't react to that.
Because I thought you farted.
No.
What the Why are you still here? Temperatures went up. Temperature is now going way up, spiking. Oh shit! Oh, your ass fly has made it going to overdrive. Honestly, Ghost, I'd probably just want to fight you. Is that you, Rose? Oh shit! There's a skeleton by the TV. Why is it dancing? It's dancing.
Come on now! Flip it over now! Come on! Where are you now?
When do you kick that? What's that noise? Someone walking around?
Here we come. Kill us. Kill both of us.
I would prefer that one not.
Kill us.
If there's anything up here right now that wants to communicate with us, please speak now.
Yeah, this is
I
gonna be good.
certainly heard something there.
That's this Friday, y'all, September 23rd. I'm so excited. I'm glad that's coming out like before my birthday too. If you guys didn't know, my birthday is the 29th. So I feel like this is kind of like like an early birthday present for me.
Looks great.
So yeah, that was the Ghost Files trailer. Hopefully you guys were able to see that. I guess I should have warned you that there is cursing in the show. I mean, this is YouTube, so like that when you're on YouTube, you can kind of say whatever you want to say for the most part. So yeah, there is cursing in it, but yeah, it's really funny. They're both funny because, like I said, they have a really good friendship. So there's a lot of banter, and I think what works with their show, or what's worked in the past anyway, the premise is that Shane is a non-believer, so he doesn't believe in spirits or ghosts. He thinks it's all like make believe and fake and everything. And Ryan, on the other hand, is a believer, and he feels like there is some truth to maybe like spirits walking the earth or people getting haunted and things like that. So they go into it with opposing sides. They always have something to say to each other. It's just really funny. But anyway, let me know if you're going to watch the show, or if you want me to react to like each episode, or if you kind of want me to continue talking about it, because I'll definitely be tuning in for each episode. There should be a new episode each week, I think, once it premieres. At least that's kind of how their old content was on BuzzFeed. I think there was like a new episode every Friday or something. So if that's the case, like I'll continue talking about it because I love their shows. Like their content has become something like I don't know, it's like comforting for me because I've been watching them for years. So like when they come out with stuff, I'm like, here we go, here we go. So yeah, let's get into Stranger Things because I feel like there's a lot to talk about as usual. I don't exactly remember where I left off with part one of episode nine of what I was talking about exactly, but I will just jump into one of the I would say probably one of the best scenes of this season and probably one of the most popular seasons or one of the most talked about um scenes. I said seasons. One of the most talked about scenes I think in this season was Eddie shredding the guitar to distract the bats in the upside down and he's, you know, on top of the trailer and he's with Dustin. So a case just to kind of like I guess, refresh everybody's memory. So at this point, everybody's doing what they can from each side of the world to kind of go up against Vecna and the whole upside down. You have the Hawkins crew, you have the Californians crew, and then you have, you know, like Hopper and Joyce and all of them. They're still stuck in Russia, but they're all trying to like kind of do their own thing in order to kind of defeat Vecna, basically. And so for those that are in Hawkins and the ones that are in the upside down, um, they have this whole plan that they're setting in motion and everybody has their own role, their own part to play. And so for Eddie and Dustin, they're paired up together and they're basically like they're kind of like bait too, I guess, kind of like a distraction for the bats so that Robin and Steve and Nancy can get to Vecna basically. And so yeah, that whole scene of him playing, I think he's playing a Metallica song, I think it was like really, you know, definitely everybody was like talking about that scene. I think a lot of people um actually not even I think I know a lot of people favorite Eddie this season, especially as being like one of the best new characters. So everybody was like super hype about that. They're like, oh my god, that was like the best scene and blah 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 and everything. I could try to maybe look it up and try to show you guys, but I don't want to take too much time trying to like look for it. um but I'm sure most of you guys have seen it already. But yeah, that was a pretty cool scene. At the again, like the cinematography was on point, the music was on point. And I think the actor who plays Eddie was actually playing the, you know, the guitar, so that just made it more realistic and everything. um and so that was a kind of a cool way to incorporate like I don't know, just like 80s culture and music, but also make it make sense to them trying to defeat Vecna. I thought that was kind of a unique way. So whoever wrote that scene, kudos to you guys for putting that in there. So they're doing that. And then back in Russia with like Hopper and Joyce and everything, they made it back into the prison. So remember, they broke out and then they were like, oh no, we have to go back in because in order to help the kids fight Vecna and the Upside Down, we're going to have to play our part. So we're going to have to go back to the prison because all those like what do you call them, like demodogs are all locked away in those like um basically like the Russians had them in these like tubes and you could tell that they were going to use them for like, you know, experimenting and all this stuff. So they go back and those tubes are like completely shattered, there's nothing in them. And they're like, okay, so these demodogs are out, and they pretty much like have killed or like slaughtered all of the Russian prisoners and the guards and everything. Like they come back to like full destruction and it's just like, what did we just walk back into, you know? So that was kind of crazy because I was just like, dude, like if they had not gone back, they wouldn't have known that that had happened. And if they just tried to leave to go back to America, I don't know, like I don't know what would have happened. But they come back and they're just like, okay, so we're really gonna have to like fight all these demodogs, or at least try to get them all into the same place so that we can pretty much, you know, kill them and hurt them. Because if we hurt them, then we're hurting Vecna. Because remember, everything is a hive mind. Everything is connected in the upside down. It was me. And then, so remember the plan from Elle's side of things was, you know, I can't get to Vecna from California, but what I can do is I can go inside Max's mind because she knew that Vecna was going to be, you know, targeting Max, and Max pretty much put herself up for bait. And so she's like, when Vecna comes after Max, I'm gonna be there to go after him, which I thought was pretty smart. Um, And you knew, like, I think we all knew, we were all anticipating the moment that Elle was going to come face to face with Vecna again, because it was like a battle 2.0 type of thing, because they technically fought the first time back in, like, in the 70s, when she first sent him to the upside down. Like, that was their first battle. And now it's been all these years. Elle's older, Vecna's stronger now, so now it's like, okay, this is going to be a real fight right now, because he's been trying to go after this girl this whole time, and we're just figuring that out really now, that it's kind of been him the whole time that's been going after her. So it was just like this anticipating thing. Like, it was like high anxiety, really nervous of like, oh God, like when she sees Vecna, what's gonna happen here? We don't know what's gonna happen, but we just know it's gonna be a fight for real. So let me just take a pause real quick ad break to let you guys know that my podcast is sponsored by Streann Media, and that I use their Stream Studio software and able to do this podcast. So the way I was able to kind of share my screen and show you guys the Ghost Files trailer was because of Stream Studio software. So that's not my doing. That's just how Stream Studio is set up. So if you want to share your screen, you are able to do that. And I know some of you are probably like, if you could share your screen, why didn't you do that before? I don't know. I'm still learning, you guys. Okay. This is still kind of like new to me a little bit. So go easy on me. But just know that that is one of the cool features that you can do with Stream Studio. You're able to share your screen. And also, I think that would definitely come in handy if, or if or when I have more guests. And if I want to react to something with like more than one person, we could do that as well. So it's pretty cool how they have it set up. It's pretty easy. All you have to do is go to the share button. Now, obviously, you guys can't see this, but from my end, I can see all the different features, and I can press share, and you could choose to share like a tab, or you could choose to share your entire screen if you want to. And so that's how I was able to share, go on YouTube and then click pretty much like whatever video you want to react to or whatever video you want to show, and it'll come up and it plays. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully that worked for you guys and you guys were able to hear it clearly. But yeah, so Stream Studio, that's just one of the many features that Stream Studio offers. I highly recommend checking it out. If you are a content creator, or if you're looking to become a content creator and you want to make your own videos, or you really want to do live streaming or gaming or anything like that, honestly, like Stream Studio would probably be your best bet, because it's really easy and simple to use. And they have all types of different features. There's things that I haven't even fully tapped into yet. As you can see, this is my first time sharing my screen like this. The only other time I really did that was when I had a guest. Um, when I interviewed the costume designer for Barry. If you didn't catch that episode, that was a really good episode. You can go back to my old, podcast episode and you'll see it. But when I did that, that was me having a guest on, so I was able to kind of add another person on. So I did that a little bit, but that's not really the same thing as sharing your screen. So just know that you can do that. That is an option if you're the type of person who wants to react to things and you're just kind of like, well, I don't know how to do it. All you have to do is share your screen, and it's pretty simple. I just did it. So there you have it. And let's get back into Stranger Things. So at this point, like I said, Elle has infiltrated Max's mind, and she at first she doesn't find Max. So it's this thing where she's like in one of her old memories, and then when she does find Max, she finds that Vecna has pretty much already, he's been like terrorizing Max this whole time, because Max's idea was like, I'll be okay because I'll be able to just put myself into a good memory, and he can't, he won't be there and I'll be fine. But he came into the good memory and pretty much was like terrorizing her, which is like really messed up. Um, and so that's kind of like the only, I guess, good part about this whole episode is like Elle shows up just in the nick of time. And she kind of tries to explain to Max a little bit about how she's there, because Max is like, wait a minute, how are you here? Like, is this real? What's going on? And you have to remember that they haven't seen each other in like probably a year or something, because remember they, Elle has been in California with Joyce and Will, and Max stayed behind, and she's in Hawkins and everything. So they've been apart this whole time. And I don't know how much communication they've had. Really, they didn't really show any scenes of them like talking on the phone or anything like that. So I don't know, but just think how weird that was for Max, for Elle to be in her mind, and she hasn't seen her in like almost a year or something. So that was kind of cool that she showed up like that. And then, when Vecna shows up, then it's like, oh shoot, like here we go. Here we go. Because Vecna is back with a vengeance. Like he's been trying to go after Elle this entire time. So from season 1 all the way up until season 4, it's pretty much been him that's been behind all this destruction, and everything that's, I guess, everything that's kind of been happening to Elle is because of him, minus everything that like Dr. Brenner did and everything, of course. But ever since she, banished him to the upside down, he's been trying to get back at her. So now it's like his chance to really destroy her again. So it's just like, whoo, like this is intense, y'all. This is intense. I was really scared for her. Like I know Elle is really strong, but I was like, girl, like maybe Dr. Brenner had a point about you not being ready all the way, but I understand that she was kind of just like, I need to get to my friends and I need to help them. Like, I can't worry about all that right now because it's like they were running out of time. Um, and so on the opposite side of that, so obviously we know Max is like in the trance and everything, and Lucas is there with her to kind of help her. And who shows up? Jason shows up. Of course, Jason shows up and ruins things because he has no idea what's going on. And he comes with a gun of all things, and he's like threatening Lucas and basically just like, you need to wake Max up. You need to tell me what's going on and all this stuff because he's still reeling from Chrissy's death. And like I said, he thinks this is all like having to do with Hellfire Club and like it's devil worshiping. He has no idea what's going on. So he's completely clueless and he's pretty unhinged at this point. Um, and unfortunately, like it's just Lucas and Max. So Lucas kind of has to deal with him on his own, and they kind of go toe to toe pretty much. And Lucas is just like, dude, if I wake up Max right now, like we're all dead. Like Vecna's gonna know what's going on, and he's gonna come after all of us. And of course, Jason doesn't know who Vecna is. He doesn't know any of that. So he's kind of just like, pointing the gun and everything. And it was just like, oh my God. Like, I understand. Like, I have a little bit of sympathy for him because, yes, he did lose his girlfriend. And I know he's completely clueless and he's probably scared and all this stuff. But at the same time, like, you're messing everything up. Like, if you don't know what's going on, why would you put yourself in the middle of that? If you really thought this was devil worshiping and you really thought, like, it had anything to do with Hellfire Club, why would you put yourself on the front line knowing that you could possibly die or knowing that something could go wrong? Like, I just don't understand that. And he really thought bringing a gun was going to do something. Like, if you think this is something supernatural, or if you know, what is a gun going to do? Please tell me. And I was just so frustrated with him. Like, I know some people were trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but at this point I was just like, no, because you're acting crazy right now and you're doing stuff, it's not helping anything. Like, you're making things worse. So at that point I was just like, you know what, Lucas, beat him up. I don't care. I really don't care if he gets hurt. um and then what I noticed too was what was interesting in this episode was there was kind of like some parallels between Hopper and Max offering themselves up as bait. So they both were kind of like, use me and do whatever you need to do to get to Vecna. So um I don't know if they intentionally, like the Stranger Things writers intentionally wrote that like that. I don't know, but I thought that was kind of a cool parallel with both of them. And I think, at this point, Hopper had been through so much that it was just like he was super fearless at this point. Maybe he was really scared deep down, but he was not showing it. He was just like, you know what? Like, we're gonna get all these demogorgons and these demodogs together, and we're gonna burn them alive, and you're gonna use me as bait. This is what we're gonna do. And even Joyce was like, hold on, like you just went through hell and back, and now you're trying to like put yourself up as bait. But Hopper is a G. Like, he was just like, no, we're gonna do it this way. This is what we're gonna do, and you know, we're gonna make things right. And I think Max was kind of that same way. I think she was kind of just tired of everything at that point when she offered herself up as bait. I think she did that in the previous episode where when they were coming up with the plan of how they were going to go against Vecna. And she was just like, you're just going to have to use me as bait. Like, I'm already a target. Like, he's already tried to get me. So I might as well do this. So that way, you guys can get to him and hopefully you don't miss. Because if you do, then I'm in trouble. But I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cool that they did that with both of their characters. And so, the plan, like I said, the plan was going in motion. Everything was just going too good. It was just like too fine at that point. And you just knew something bad was going to happen. And so, like, I feel like Jason came in and just after that, it was just like everything just started to crumble and everybody was having trouble. Like, from all ends, things were getting messed up. And I think the biggie was when Elle finally came face to face with Vecna. Obviously, they kind of immediately start fighting each other, and then it gets to a point where Vecna has the upper hand and he has L in his grips, and he's kind of just like, you know what, like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you and I'm gonna kill your friend, but before I do that, I'm gonna make you watch everything. And it's just super like cruel and sadistic. That's why I was like, I knew when they came face to face, he was not gonna have any mercy on her because he's been trying to get this girl for years. Um, and so it's this really like they have this kind of emotional heart to heart scene, I guess, where he has her pretty much trapped and everything, and it's like all in his world at this point. And I don't know if she was trying to appeal to his emotions or if she was kind of just trying to see where his head was at, or maybe trying to distract him so he wouldn't go after Max. I'm not sure. But she has this moment where she tells him, like, Dr. Brunner, aka Papa, he's dead. um and that kind of stops Vecna in his tracks, and he listens to what she has to say, and she kind of goes on this little monologue about how this whole time, like, he's been the monster, he's the one that created all of this, he's the reason why all this is happening. And she's like crying when she's talking about this too and stuff. Um and Vecna gets really closer, and he's kind of like, yeah, you know what, you're kind of right, like, he did kind of start all this, like, he was the one that started the experiments and all this stuff. um and he is sort of to blame. But then he does this mic drop where he's like, but he didn't turn me into this, you did. And it was like, ooh, ooh, because he's not wrong. Like, technically, she did turn him into Vecna by banishing him to the upside down. But at the same time, like, if she didn't do that, if she had just let him go, he would have been like wreaking havoc across the world this whole time. So it's like there was going to be consequences with whatever she did. So that was kind of like, you can't really blame her for doing that. Like, she was doing what she thought was right, and she was like a little kid. um but he tells her straight to her face, he's like, you did this to me, it wasn't him, you did this. So he's kind of like, you're the monster too, it's not just him. And I think that was like, um I don't know, that was kind of like a punch to the gut to me, for him to tell her that face to face, like, after all these years and after all this time. It was just like, ooh, like, because he wasn't really wrong, like, technically he's not wrong. um and you clearly kind of see that like that distracted him for a minute, but he's still like, you can appeal to me all you want, I'm still going to go through with the plan, like, it's already set in motion, I'm going to kill your friends and I'm going to destroy Hawkins. Like, he just doesn't care at this point. And I think she sees at that point, it's like, it doesn't matter what I say, like, I'm going to have to stop him some kind of way because my words are not doing it. And so you have to remember that she's fighting him. This is all like in Max's mind. So her body, like her physical body, is floating in this what do you call it? It's like in the freezer thing. I don't know what you call it, but it's like kind of like a tub, but it's like in the freezer thing. And so Will and Mike and Argyle and Jonathan, they're all like surrounding her and just watching and waiting to see what's going to happen. And then there gets to a point where when she's fighting him, they know, like, because her body is like trembling and everything, because she's trying, she's using all of her energy, all of her strength and everything to fight him. And this is all in her mind. This is all in the mind. So I thought that was kind of cool too, that their battle was actually not happening physically, but it was in Max's mind, but it's still affecting her, it's still affecting her physical body. So when she's doing that, um, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, we need to pull her out of this, because she's like, obviously they can't see what's going on, but I think Mike is connected to her enough to know that, like, she's hurting, and that she's really like going for it, trying to go up against him, and it's not working the way they thought it was going to work. And so they kind of pull her out of the water, and they have this really like emotional moment where Mike is trying to talk to her and tell her, like, he's trying to encourage her to be like, hey, you can keep going, you could do this, you could fight, you just need to um kind of like use up all your strength. And then Will, taps Mike, and he's like, hey, like, remember what I told you, you're the heart, which means you need to tell her that you love her. He doesn't say that, but that's basically what it's kind of like indicating, that's what she needs to hear. And that's what she's been wanting to hear this whole time. And so, there's this whole monologue, this whole like emotional, heartfelt scene where he's talking to her and she can hear him. And I don't think he necessarily knows that, but he's kind of just trying to appeal to her and just say, like, you know, um, I need you to fight like I need you to get out of this. I need you alive. I need you here. And I basically I need it's like, I'm not like a super hard shipper when it comes to Mike and 11, but that scene I was like, oh, like she really needed to hear that. Like she's been wanting to hear that this whole time, and we know that that was like a problem in their relationship earlier in the episodes when she kind of got upset with him when she was saying like, every time that we write letters to each other, you sign it from Mike. You never say love Mike. So it's like, she's like, you don't love me. Like we're together. We've been together this whole time, and you can't tell me that you love me. Why? Why is that? Which is valid because I would probably feel the same way too if I was Elle. So yeah, I was glad that he was able to tell her that. Um, and again, I know I kind of talked about this a little bit where I felt like I don't know if necessarily Mike is the heart of the group. I feel like maybe he's Elle's heart, if that makes sense. And I think to Will, Mike is the heart of the group because Will has feelings for him more than friendly feelings for him. So but again, I really was glad that he was able to tell her that in that moment. I kind of wish he would have said it earlier, but I think obviously it worked because it was able to get her to kind of like be able to like fight up against Vecna. Um, and so I am gonna I think I kind of want to like leave it there a little bit. I don't want to go too far into what happens in the end because it just gets crazier from there. And there's a lot of emotional, like much more emotional stuff that's gonna happen at the end of the episode, and I want to talk about that next week because it literally made me cry, and I think anybody that watched it was like legit tearing up watching it because we were just like, did that really just happen? Like, is this really going on? And I think they really like Stranger Things this season really upped the stakes because if you look at previous seasons, I think there was always like moments or things that happen where we're going, oh my God, like I don't know what's gonna happen. But I think in the back of our head, we knew like, okay, the main characters, they're gonna be okay. Like they're not gonna, they may kill off a new character or they might kill off a side character, but we're like, we know the main characters are good, even though we know they're gonna have to fight or they're gonna have to go through this big battle or whatever. But in this season, I was really like scared for everybody. I think the only people where I kind of felt like we're safe, somewhat safe, was Joyce and Hopper because Hopper had just been through, being locked away in that prison this whole time that I was like, it wouldn't make sense for them to kill Hopper after saving him. So I was like, they're not going to do that to Hopper. And then I didn't think they would kill off Joyce because Joyce is like the mom. She's like we need her. We need the parent. Um, and I think her character is well liked too. So I felt like they were okay. And after having that really nice reunion between them, I was like, they're definitely gonna want to develop their relationship later on. So I was just like, I don't think they're gonna die. But the kids, I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen with y'all. Like it was really to a point where I was like, nobody except for maybe Joyce and Hopper is safe. I was like, nobody's safe. And I think they definitely did that on purpose. Like that was the intention to be like, you know, this season is kind of like all or nothing. I know there's still one more season left, but with this one, they were really like, we're giving you full 80s horror and gore and they didn't hold back. Like they really didn't. I have to give them props for that. Um and then let's take another quick break, just really quickly before I continue talking about Stranger Things. Just to remind you guys that my podcast is sponsored by Streann Media. And I did kind of want to let you guys know a little bit. They do have a new launch. Streann Media has this thing called Streann Gaming. So if you guys are into like video games or being able to, kind of play games on your phone, Streann Media did just launch that. So if that's your thing, check it out. I don't know too much info about it because it is still pretty new. But you can go to their social media pages and you could kind of look up and see what that's all about. You can follow them on Instagram, Facebook. I believe they even have a YouTube page as well to have demonstrations to see how things work. So I definitely recommend checking out their social media pages and subscribe to them, follow them to keep up with news. They're even on LinkedIn as well. I follow them on LinkedIn as well. And so yeah, they do have Streann Gaming now from Streann Media if you guys want to check that out. And I think I've mentioned this before quite a bit, but when I talk about creating content through Stream Studio software, just know that it's not just for podcasting and it's not just for reacting. It can also be for people who are into video games and want to do gaming. And if you want to do it live or if you want to do gaming with other people, you could definitely do that. And like I just mentioned earlier, you're able to share your screen and you're able to have on guests. So if you want to have on a couple of friends and you want to do like a live video gaming session, you could definitely do that. So you could do quite a bit on here. You could also share it to Twitch. Obviously, I, go live on Facebook every week, but if you wanted to go live on YouTube, if you wanted to go live on Twitch, you're able to do that through Stream Studio. They have the option for you to do that, and they make it really easy. You just kind of have to like set it up with your account. And once you click it, then you're connected and you could start going live. So it's pretty cool what they offer, what you're able to do. They kind of have it where I think they tailor to kind of whatever content you're into as a content creator, which I think is really cool. They didn't just limit it to just one thing because they know a lot of people are into different types of video, different types of live streaming. So yeah, if you're into gaming, you could definitely check out Strean's gaming news, their new system, their new experience that they just launched. And then if you want to do your own gaming live sessions, you could definitely do that through Stream Studio software. Um, and just make sure that if you guys are using their studio software, or if you're into stream media, if you're using anything of theirs, just tag them, just so they know that you're using it and that you're enjoying it, and kind of let them know what you like, or maybe what they can improve on, all that kind of stuff. I'm sure they're open to all kinds of feedback, so make sure you follow them on social media and let them know what you're doing, what you're getting into, so they can support you too. I'm sure they'll like your stuff as well. But anyway, let's get back to Stranger Things. I'm gonna kind of tie it off in a little bit because, like I said, I don't want to like spoil the ending just yet. It's not really spoiling the ending because, Stranger Things season 4 has been out for a while, so I think most people have seen it. But I want to save that whole conversation for next week because it's just a lot. It's a lot of emotional stuff that happens, and it's really sad, like for real. So just like brace yourselves because it's really really sad, and I just legit might tear up talking about it. I don't know, I haven't went back to watch those scenes, but I'm probably gonna do that just to kind of get ready to talk about it next week. um but yeah, I'm looking at my notes just to make sure that that was kind of like the main things that I wanted to talk about. um but jumping back to before I end this discussion about Stranger Things, jumping back into when Jason and Lucas are fighting, um, like man, that scene was I don't know, it was just so frustrating because, like I said, I was already frustrated with Jason, but then him going against Lucas of all people was just like, really, like that's supposed to be your teammate and all this kind of stuff. And anyway, but when they were fighting though, like he was what was crazy was that Jason wasn't just fighting him, he was legit like trying to hurt Lucas. And like he had that gun and he pulled the trigger. So that means like he was like willing to kill him. And I'm just like, are you that far gone that you're gonna kill Lucas when you don't even know all the way what's going on? Because I'm just like, in your head, what did you think that was gonna do? If you had shot Lucas or if you had killed him, like did you think you were saving Max? Did you think everything was going to be okay after doing that? Like I just don't know what was going through his head. I think he was just so like I said, I think he was just so unhinged at that point. Like I don't know, I don't know if he had an end goal in sight is what I'm saying. But I was like kind of surprised that he was for real trying to kill him. Like he was for real trying to hurt him. It wasn't just trying to fight him. It was like, I'm gonna pull the trigger and I'm like smashing things over your head. Like too much. It was way too much. And I was really like, I felt really bad for Lucas because, like I said, he was fighting him on his own. Like Max was in the trance, and then his sister Erica was outside, and then that dude was trying to come up. Oh my god, you guys, I'm getting frustrated thinking about it. But he was trying to fight Erica. I'm like, Erica's a little kid. Like she's like 10 or 11, and this is a teenager. This is a teenage boy trying to fight a little girl. What is wrong with you? Like that whole basketball team was like off their rockers at this point. I was like, what is wrong with you guys? Like really, you're trying to fight this little girl? And thankfully she got over on the dude. But I was just like, what was the point of doing all this? Like going up against him? I don't know. But yeah, she was when she even got away, she was locked outside of the door. So she couldn't have helped Lucas anyway. So it was really just Lucas versus Jason. And I don't know, that scene like really really frustrated me. And I was just like, come on you guys, like real. And it wasn't just that, because it was like everything was falling apart. Everything was going, like everything that we thought could go wrong and more was going wrong. But that scene in particular, I think I was really just like on the edge of my seat. And I was just like, whatever you guys do, like I know I always talk about don't hurt Steve because Steve is my favorite character on the show, but I was like, if y'all hurt Lucas, if y'all kill him, especially by a gun, riots in the street, riots everywhere. Like, do you know how upset people would be? Like, legit upset. And at this point, it's like it's not even about it being a fictional character. It would just be like, why? Like, how could you do that to Lucas of all people? Lucas. But thankfully, I'm just gonna say this now. Thankfully, he does not die, but he definitely gets hurt in the process. But like I said, I'll jump more into that next week. I don't want to make this episode too long because there's still quite a bit to talk about. But I did kind of want to just go over what was happening, I guess, towards the middle of the episode, and then kind of winding down to the end when we're having this big battle against Vecna and everything that was going on with, like, them and the California crew. I call it Hawkins crew, and then them in Russia. It's a lot, you guys. So hopefully you guys like have watched Stranger Things, or at least seen some of it, because I feel like just listening to me talk about it is probably too confusing. So if you haven't seen it, you can probably look up certain clips maybe on YouTube. I could try to find some clips to show you guys on here, but again, I don't want to take too much time trying to like look for stuff. Um, but yeah, I definitely highly recommend, if you haven't seen the whole season or full episodes, at least look up the clips so you know what I'm talking about. Um, and then we'll have more to discuss next week, like I said, because I'll be talking about the end, like how season 4 ends and what that means for season 5, and maybe we can even talk about predictions on what you think will happen or what we want to happen or anything like that, because I have some things that I wanted to talk about. And I think with Stranger Things, like, the fans usually have pretty like big theories, and sometimes they're right, sometimes they're wrong. So I what I could do is try to look up some fan theories that are out there already, and then maybe like we could talk about them on the podcast, and you guys can let me know like what you think, like what you believe, or what you think is like bogus, and basically just like what you think will happen and what we want to see happen. um and I feel like usually it's like what we think is going to happen does not happen. So, but that's good though, because we don't want it to be predictable, right? And season 5 will be the last season of Stranger Things. So, I feel like I don't know how they're going to top season 4, to be honest, but I feel like it's going to be pretty big season, because again, they're still going to be going up against, the Upside Down, and um, just trying to kind of close everything, like make everything come to an end. So I don't know how they're going to do that, but we'll be talking about that in the following episodes. You guys can follow me on social media to talk about anything having to do with like fandom stuff, TV, movie, music, entertainment, anything like that. I'm usually talking about that stuff on Twitter. And I usually leave my socials in the comments, so you could check that out to follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook so you can see when I go live every Tuesday or any type of updates about my podcast. Definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you watch my podcast through YouTube, then you'll be able to get updates of when I post. And I typically will post same day. So once the live ends, I immediately will start working on uploading the live to YouTube and Spotify. And then, of course, follow my show, Tiffany's TVscape podcast, on Spotify. Just search it and it should come up, because I think that's the only podcast with that name. And then if you guys don't mind, you could give me a 5-star rating, just so I know that you guys like my podcast and that you're digging it and you want to see more content. Um, but yeah, like I said, I'll leave my socials in the comments. I usually do. If you guys want to follow me, and then just to keep up with, like, updates, or if there's some recommendations, if there's something you want me to discuss on the podcast, let me know. If you want to be on the podcast, I feel like I've been saying that over and over since I've started this show, but like, I'm 100% open to having guests. Anybody's really welcome, as long as you are familiar with the content that I'm talking about. Then we can have a full discussion, or we can even do reactions together, and I can have more than one person on. So just so you guys know. Um, and yeah, I think that's it. Like I said, I think I want to wrap it up here. I don't want to make the episode too long. Um, But yeah, again, let me guys. Why do I keep saying let me guys? Let me know, because I'm talking too fast. Let me know how you guys feel about the me, reacting to Ghost Files trailer. If you kind of like me doing that kind of stuff, please give me feedback, just so I know um to kind of continue doing that. So maybe if I talk about movie trailers, or if I talk about something new coming out, then I'll do that. And I'll start doing that a little bit more. And then at least you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about, because I feel like sometimes I'm rambling. about things, and it's probably hard to keep up with if you don't know. Like if you haven't seen what I'm talking about, if you have no idea what I'm discussing, then it's just like, what is she talking about? I don't know. But if you see it with me, or if we're watching it together, then I think that makes it more fun. So yeah, let me know if you like that. I feel like I'll probably try to incorporate that a little bit more now that I know kind of how to do it a little bit. Um, and yeah, I will see you guys next Tuesday at 1 p.m. on Facebook Live as usual. We'll continue just, the last half of episode 9 of Stranger Things. And then after that, I guess, like I said, I'll talk about theories. And then I think I'll be done with Stranger Things for a while, which is making me sad. It's making me feel like Barry all over again. I hate letting go of talking about a show when I've been talking about it for a while. It's kind of sad for me. But anyway, we'll have to move on to new content. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week, and hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. And yeah, I'm peacing out, y'all. Bye bye.